Alrighty, welcome back to the RDN Roller Show. We got a rare edition night show here, recapping Beyond the Boards. But first, before we get into it, we're into the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. 2026. Ant Merrigan and Nicholas Dobrowolski. Last name
That's
correct?
it. It's a
Let's go.
great,
Let's go.
yeah,
Ant,
it's a tough one to say.
how's 2026 for you boys?
Sick. I was sick, so it's been a little bit rough. Had my first day out of the house. I'm at the rink finally. So, other than that, all is well.
Yeah, great. Basically just been on the rink most of the time, so just out on the ice a lot so far, which I think is a good way to start, you know, 2026 for sure.
Before we get into this, I just gotta get your thoughts. It's buzzing around the hockey world too. USA, Canada, Olympic rosters. Who's your biggest snub on both rosters for you guys?
This is a great question. I mean, I think like the obvious one in USA is Robertson. Like the guy's got the second most points in the NHL as an American. Like even if he's your extra guy, why isn't he not on there? I don't know. And then on Canada, I mean, like everyone's saying Sam Bennett, I guess. I mean, Sam Bennett's kind of a snub, but like I hate to do it because Sanheim's a flyer, but like I would take Jacob Chikrin over Sanheim.
Yeah, I agree on that. But I think a lot of people forget too. It's not four nations. It's the Olympics. You can't fight in the Olympics. You're going to
Right.
be
So
kicked
Tom
out.
Wilson.
And like the Tom Wilson thing kind of like bewilders me. But you're also building a team to like both GMs said it perfectly, but they really weren't saying it. Like they're building a team to beat each other. They're not beating a team like building a team to beat.
It's a good point.
You know what I mean? So,
It's a good
uh,
point.
one player, one sneaky player, Matthew Nyes or Knees. I was like very surprised. I was like, you know what? Watching his game, like,
He's a bull.
and you need that on your third or fourth line.
And he's also got speed. I mean, that's the biggest thing I think that USA is kind of lacking in general is like they don't have that top gear guy. You know what I mean? Like that's one that
Yes, Eichel. Well, they have Eichel, but
yeah, but he doesn't really turn on the Jets all the time, right?
yeah,
Like
he's a
he's not a
center.
center lane guy though.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't drive the center lane a whole. Like he's
Yeah.
more of a puck possession playmaker guy. Like you need that. Like in the Flyers game, was it yesterday? Denver Barkey
Oh
just
God, we got two Flyers
Yeah,
fans
you're
on here
fucked.
now.
You're fucked.
Oh
like that's the
Jesus.
thing, right? Like you need that in this game, somewhere along your lineup, and I think that third line, and I think you're right. Like you just need that bottom of the, you know, that bottom six. You just need that.
I
So,
think Rob, you brought up the best point though. They are building rosters to be. I think, but honestly, like I looked at Sweden's roster and like they're sneaky good. Like Sweden's kind of like nasty a little bit. So they all play the right way. It's like so hard, like because they just play good hockey.
Well, that's Finland, man. Finland's like how
Finland
they
the same
beat.
way.
Yeah, Finland, I think will be very. They're third, if not, they might even be in that gold medal game if one of those two teams slip up. They have a good roster, and they're
Yeah.
thinking about Finland is yeah, they got Rantanen, their top player, but they have a deep roster of like second and third line guys that you kind of need. And this is
Yeah,
a
you're
big,
right.
this is a big rink. So it's a different kind of game than your or is it a big rink?
No,
Everyone,
it's smaller.
they're
It's
talking, yeah,
smaller.
they're talking about it being smaller.
It's just shorter. It's just shorter. That's it.
should have got
So
Hawkins out there, been ripping a puck
yeah,
anywhere.
you just need them shooting the pill, dude.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
real. All right, so Nick, who is yours for USA and Canada? I don't know if we got.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely you guys already said like it's nice D's whatever. I just think they're missing that speed on USA. For Canada, I mean, I probably would have taken Schaefer, honestly. Like I know he's 18,
he's
I
a
get it.
reserve too. Yeah.
But to me, like, and I mean,
Well,
I don't know, like Sanheim's good, right? But I just think that Schaefer plays a complete game. He plays a modern game. Like if you have him and you have Kale McCarr, you don't have you basically have three lines who can move the puck and rush it and get like I mean, what his first goal that he scored in the NHL, right? He like dove in and like poked it, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
his goal the other night was
yeah,
yeah,
like
his
disgusting.
goal
that's
the other night was
so
nasty.
yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, those guys are just tough to come by, and he has size. He's got a good stick on puck. Like, he's positionally sound. in addition to being probably the best skater at his age that anybody's ever seen. So
Well,
like,
there is like a little caveat because isn't Devon Taves, he might have a baby, and he came out and said like straight up, if my baby's gonna be born during the Olympics, I'm not going.
Well, ask KJ. KJ would know.
Yeah, it's his boy, right? They're
Yeah, they went to
Quinnipiac
Quinnipiac.
guys.
They went to
Yeah.
Quinnipiac together.
So he said that in an interview. So Schaefer is the reserve. So that's why I wasn't really thinking him, but you are right point. Like he's nasty. Like he's the new McCarr. Like he's nasty.
And
So
he's a lefty. If you, if you had those two just flowing off each other, nasty. As a USA fan, obviously, you're kind of like,
yeah, fuck.
that would suck.
Yeah.
um,
Honestly, I watched the Avs. I think it was last night. I was just like, they came back on Carolina, and I was like, this team is just. They lost. I know tonight. They
they're
lost.
like a roller hockey team,
Dude,
and
it's
they just fuck around,
crazy.
and they're like Palma, or they're kind of like black whoever, right? They're at a
Like a
local
different
tournament.
sport.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
at a local tournament, fucking around. Like, all right, let's just go score goals,
Like they were literally just like they how many like neutral zone regroups they did. I was just like, this is roller hockey. I was like, these guys are nuts. It
dude.
was sick.
The comparison always McDavid, McCall, or McDavid and like McKinnon.
Yeah.
McDavid's like the most skilled player, but like the best team player in the world, hands down, is McKinnon.
He's
Like
ridiculous.
that shot from the top and just like putting it in the right place. In him, and McDavid does that, but he would walk it in and just dance everyone and top shelf it.
Yeah,
It's
those two are aliens in hockey, honestly.
fucking
yeah, they're playing a different sport.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're
So,
not. It's nuts.
All right, boys. Well, let's get into it. We're gonna get into Beyond the Boards. I would honestly, I think we released the first trailer back in, I wouldn't say August, October, possibly. But we're gonna kind of in this interview slash breakdown, just break down Beyond the Boards, what it is and how it came about, and get to know the background of Nick, and where he came from as well too. I'll give a little gist of it, and then I'm gonna let the boys take it away and kind of what it is. I'm gonna set the tone for the boys. Okay, I'm
set
gonna
the
set the
tone, dude.
tone.
You're like
Walking
Tom
in the
Wilson, dude. Set the tone.
Yeah, no, I'm walking in the locker room about to read the lineup. That's what I'm about to do.
Oh shit.
No, so Beyond the Boards. Last summer in Taylor, Michigan, Nick Anthmerigan. I was in Mexico, unfortunately. Wish I was there. Fiance doesn't listen to this, but it's all good. So shot a docu series. We didn't know what it would be at that time. I think we were just doing interviews, but it became this Beyond the Boards, and now we're ready to release a four-part docu series of following the 2024 champions, the Palma Levada Golden Knights women's and the men's teams. Both won in St. Louis, Missouri. Me and Ant were both there. Unbelievable, just two unbelievable games. The women's won an OT against Ringster, and then the men's won. I think it was just 1-0. Clay Taylor
Yeah.
played his butt off in that game. So that's what this premise is about. It is also about roller hockey. That's what Beyond the Boards is about too. It's State Wars. It's a State Wars story. That's what it is. Tim loves Star Wars, so
Yeah.
this is a State Wars story. But yeah, and that's kind of what it is. So I'm gonna let the boys take it away, explain a little more of it, and we'll get into it. First, we know who Anth Merrigan is. We know
Yeah.
who he is. He's the GOAT godfather of Roller Dad.
The Unk. I've been called Unk a lot lately.
Unk,
and I'm not
that's
liking it,
popping
dude.
Unk.
I didn't realize Unk was like a derogatory thing.
Nah, it's like
I mean,
some,
Aiden Dufour was calling me Unk all summer, and I was like, oh, dude, he like thinks I'm his Unk. Like that's cool. And then like I realized it's like a kind of a just an old head. Like
yeah. So quick, Nick. Give us a quick breakdown. Your background, where you come from. You've worked on a lot. You work for the NHL. You do a lot of big sports documentaries. Not just in the NHL and stuff. The stuff you tell us. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, but quick breakdown of who you are, and then let's get into the Beyond the Boards.
Sure, yeah. So I've been working in like national media for a while. I started at NBC back in 2014 as an assistant editor for the promos department there. Ended up being the lead editor for the NHL promotional kind of content that we were doing. So we did everything from like hype videos for individual teams for the playoffs to like these weird, I found these like cool, weird, like educational videos that they used to put out, like black and white educational videos. And I ripped the audio from that. And then we had like designers design this cool stuff for all the original six rivalries. So it was like a lot of different social things. Then I moved over to WWE and I did a short stint at the NHL. Now I'm back with the NHL, just doing a lot of podcast kind of promos for them. But I've done, you know, I've helped cut a lot of different stuff for them, like Stanley Cup DVD stuff and trailers for their docu series, stuff like that. I've also worked on, different pitch things for pretty large documentaries recently, which I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I'm gonna keep that kind of quiet. But overall, like yeah, I mean, this is kind of like my passion is storytelling, right? I got into this because Anthony and we used to play at Rizzo Rink on, what was it, Tuesday nights or something, right? Or was it Sundays?
No,
Whenever it
Wednesdays,
was.
Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights. Okay, so Frank Rizzo Rink, it's like a tiny ice rink
It was
down in
in Rocky. It was in Rocky when they go skating. It's famous.
yeah, it's an awesome place, and we just played pickup with a bunch of our buddies. But before we would go down, and his cousin was living down that way at the time, so we would go down and watch 24/7. It was the Penguins Capitals in 2011, right? Like that series, and I fell in love with that style of storytelling. So that's kind of how this whole thing came about. Is Anthony and I have talked about doing creative things for a long time. He does Turkey Cup, obviously, if anybody knows. It's kind of like one of my favorite things. Is the first year I haven't played it in forever, I think. And in 2019, before the pandemic, we shot a bunch of stuff at, I think it was the 10th anniversary of Turkey Cup, right? And so we did like a mini doc, did a couple of interviews, just like the boys hanging out, like what's Turkey Cup like, that kind of thing. And we've talked about doing multiple things over the years, but this just like happened to come about at the perfect time where I had nothing going on. I was free and clear to go. I was already kind of going to go anyway because I was doing stuff with the NDP. So like it was just kind of like a perfect storm of, hey, let's tell this story and see what we can do. And yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable experience, like absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing. I keep telling Tim and Greg every like day that I send something to them. I'm just like, man, like thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity because it's been like unreal, like unforgettable, something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And like in that room, I mean, Anthony, you remember, it's like it was weird how emotional like everybody got, all of us like in the room like felt this like it was like a good weight, right? Because State Wars and I think summer roller tournaments, it sounds like to me the majority of people were just kind of keying on this theme of how it's like where they fall in love with the game again. And hockey is so important to my life. Like all of my greatest friendships come through the sport. Roller hockey's been obviously very pivotal because Anthony and I met playing roller hockey actually. Um, and so like my life would just be completely different without the sport. So to be able to give back to it in this way, I think was really important to me and it became much more important as we started doing these interviews for sure. Absolutely. So that's kind of it's kind of both answers, I guess, sort of
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Something-
You've been around.
Yeah,
You know your way around a camera.
I
And
do. Yeah.
which I'll just get out there because I got behind for like a couple games. I was like, Rob, like I needed you because you're better with that than I am. I was so lost trying to like, and I give a lot of respect to all the shooters, right? Like there was the Nick knows all the names, but like
Yeah.
Sebastian, Chris, and Jack, right? They were all the ones that helped us. Like it's so hard to shoot. And Rob, you've done it before too. Like it's
the
tough.
one year I'm not there.
Yeah, I know, right? But like it's tough to like follow the play and like not get in the way of people and people getting in the way of you. Like I was just like, this ain't for me. It was just not, I wasn't good at it, but that's
You
why I
got
only
some good
lasted for
stuff
one
though.
game.
I
You just
will
got to
say.
be. You just like want to be invisible on the bench, But then,
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
because like whenever I'm doing the Palma Pro stuff, working at State Wars, and you're on the bench, like you kind of get into it because you're a player, right? So you're kind of like, all right, this is where I'm going to be and I'm going to shoot this. This is where I think it's cool. But at the same time, you're kind of like, you're watching the boys. You're watching the people how they interact. And I caught myself. I have a lot of videos of when I was, the year before when both Palma teams won, and I have that video of the dog pile right there. But you find yourself just watching like the players' interaction, the bench, really, and no, so
You kind
um,
of like lose yourself, and then you like forget about the game. You're like, oh shit,
yeah.
like you're like gotta like.
Absolutely. So all in all, though, going into Beyond the Boards, going into this, I don't think we had a name. I don't think there was really a, we wanted to accomplish something, but there wasn't like an idea of like, this is what it's going to be. And we have, I think it's over 19 interviews, with all different people from the men's and women's teams of, Palma and other players in the sport, from Phil Maroon to Miranda Lemus, obviously Tim McManus, Greg Thompson. And then you got, Stefano Cantilli, big influencer into the game early now. Nick Boyarski, you got your boy Aiden Dufort. Wonder how he got on there. Got the Mooney brothers, Travis
He was
Snow.
our test.
Yeah. And then, Fabio with Ringster. So Rob Tournament from La Beta. It's,
CJ Yoder, the goat.
I mean, and I think Yoder might be, and that's one that I think we've all talked about. That might be the best interview. I mean, I wasn't in the room, but watching it from afar, you just kind of like you get emotional because he gets emotional. But like, there's so much stuff that you guys captured and you guys got that afterwards. This is why it's getting released now, is because there's over like probably easily 30 hours of footage. And that's just interviews. So going through this, that's why we're releasing it now. This is because it's taken the editing, making this actually like what Nick's talked about. A cinematic, I mean, you said it perfect, like a cinematic love story to Roller, like originally. And that's exactly what it is. We've seen all the chapters, and we've seen it all. So, and you being there, and from me rambling on what that is, and
No,
you
it's
being there,
great.
kind of, you know, really grabbing the guys, helping, like, hey, these are who we need, helping direct that, and asking the interview questions and stuff, like, or I guess what was your thought process on like who you guys got? Like I
Yeah.
know. And that's something I think we need to explain as well through here, because some people think it might just be all about Palma, which it is about the champions. So, what was your thought process on that interviews?
So I wanted to try to grab a few people we don't hear from a lot. And because I was playing, I wasn't able to be in every interview. So Nick ran a bunch on his own as well with like Junior and Elisa. That's great because Elisa was a great story because she's a heartbeat of that women's team, but she was pregnant. So like she couldn't play. And she says it like you could tell she was like missing out on playing, right? Obviously, birth of a child is an unbelievable thing, greatest thing you'll ever do, but like you could tell she was missing out on it. And Junior, whose guy is like kind of soft spoken, another one who kind of opened up a little more. And you're like, okay, we're pulling this out of him. But like, I wanted to get the Mooney bro that are playing on the same team. And we knew the story with Kyle was on black ice. I was like, that's a great storyline. We've talked about that, Rob, when we interviewed him. Travis knows just he's a huge name in the sport. I mean, played an unbelievable tournament. A lot of talks about a lot of these guys that are getting older for Palma, maybe this being the last dance. We've heard this 9,000 times, Rob and I, from a bunch of these guys. And that's just like me saying, I'm going to be done.
What
He
did
never is, right?
What did
But
Eton have on a stick or
he had the last dance on the stick for
in
USA. Like,
2024?
so like, because of that, and then Rob Chernima, like he was one of my favorite because Nick got him again after I left. So he got him pre-tour. We got him pre-round robin, maybe, or like maybe one game in the round robin, and then after the tournament. And he was great. He was so just like you could tell his passion for the sport, right? And that was pretty much everybody. So what wound up happening is like as we started conducting these
Can you
interviews,
first, and I want to give teasers to these things that
yeah,
are possibly might be in there or might not. I mean, like, Nick, from your side, like I know you don't know these guys like me and Ant know these guys. Like these guys, we talk to these guys. These are like, I mean, they're our friend. These are like our close
yeah,
friends. These are the people that we're talking to. Like, I don't talk to my high school friends anymore, but I talk to these guys. So I
yeah,
consider they're my friends. Like Scotty Savage. That dude is. All these guys support us so much. Every time there's something posted, dude, awesome. Thank you so much. Um, from that side, one player, is there any player in particular that stood out the most to you that was like, wow, like this guy's very interesting, or this guy like is a great role model, or you know.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think that, first of all, I just want to say like everybody who stepped into that room, I couldn't thank them enough. And they were all so gracious and passionate and eloquent that like that just jumped right through the lens for everyone, for sure. But I think and Rob was awesome. Like absolutely such a great dude. Was gracious enough to do it like again after two like pretty heartbreaking losses, like very different heartbreaking losses, but heartbreaking nonetheless. Um, so to be able to like get through that interview and say everything that he was able to kind of convey perfectly, I thought that was great. But Travis Noah's interview, like I had goosebumps for like 2 days, and I told him that multiple times as we were in passing. I was just like, dude, I still have them. Like they're still here. He's like,
Real
wow.
quick about Travis with Nick. Travis would like stop and like say hi to Nick. Like never met him before until these interviews, and then like we'd be just like in the scrum right, like out and about, and he would like stop and just be like, "Hey man, how's everything?" Like that's how you knew it was like we really connected with him. And that interview was like scary, like Nick saying, like it like we were like, "Holy shit, dude!" Like
Yeah.
that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of set the tone. I mean, that's the biggest thing is like, and I mean, like you guys said, like I don't know these people very well, right? Like, but I came out of those room or out of that room every single time feeling like they were like my close friends.
Well,
And now
yeah,
I,
that's what I was gonna say. Like, like you became this bond, and there's one like, and I think there's like so many different sides of this, right? That people are gonna see, and they might not see it because we might release more of these full documentary, like these full videos somewhere, right? But we don't know where, but somewhere. You have this range of like the role models, like, from, Travis Noah, the way he speaks and everything, like, I mean, all these guys are role models, but just the way like some of these interviews are conducted, right? And then you get into the Phil Maroon and, see, like that to you right there in the sport where you have the Phil Maroons, the Trefties, the George Browns, you know, um, Andy Zielinski, the people, and Chris Ellis, all these guys that are the Ant American, all these guys that are commentators in the sport, and they're the voice. You can say kind of like the voice of roller when there's a live stream. Um, it's so cool to like just see them and doing an interview. It's different, right? And Phil Maroon has a different style, personality. So,
Oh yeah.
and I know there is a certain part in the interview we're probably going to see or might not see where, he's, I think he cries, right?
Yeah, like he gets super emotional and like we had to I mean, I don't think he'll care, but like we had to stop and we're like, "Hey, like let's recoup here." Like and we felt it too, like we asked about his brother and it was like an emotional answer. It was awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, he gave such a good answer about, and I'm pretty sure this is in the doc, but he says something to the effect of like, our time is limited. And like, we don't know if this is like the last time we'll ever get to
He
play.
was like a big voiceover on the trailer, the first trailer we did.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, like that's where I realized like I don't think this is something that we should like try to limit our kind of storytelling in this regard to just because like I said, like 24/7 is definitely like those 24/7s that HBO used to do, all the roads to the Winter Classics and stuff. That's really where I fell in love with this type like style of storytelling. Because I used to watch the boxing ones too. They're all so well done, and it's such a like small window of time that you get with those people that like it's run and gun crews. It's like that kind of stuff, and the way that they turn it around is insane because they're basically shooting it, and then the end of the week it's edited and out into the
They
world.
also have like probably a 30-man
Yeah,
crew.
yeah,
Meanwhile, it's Uno and Dos and
Yeah.
Tres.
yeah, post is a big difference, and obviously they have like a music library as opposed to like me, who actually wrote all the music for this, which is crazy. But like the bigger thing that I realized like when we were doing this was just the interviews were so like everybody was so eloquent, everybody was so passionate about it. I remember like we got Brooke Bryant later on, and
Very
she
good interview.
yeah, it was a really good
Really
interview.
nice.
It was really tight too, like a very tight interview. Um, but she said like you could see it all over her face. Like as soon as Ant like asked like, hey, like what does the sport mean to you? And she's like, oh, I have such a like I have such a passion for this, and like you have to come watch us play. Like if you watch like she says like a rink rat Palma game, like you want to watch that a million times. And it's like, yeah, dude, like that's so cool. And I mean, I know that a few guys had mentioned that like pro teams sometimes they'll stack rosters and bring on NHL guys or like high level D1 players or whatever to try to win. But like watching that sport that close in that setting was unbelievable. So like they all were pros 100%. Like I came out of that experience wanting like more money pumped right into this sport so that way these people could like people like them could afford to just do that for their living. They wouldn't have to do anything else. And also because the sport's just amazing. Like at that level, it's unbelievable. Like
Uh,
I don't know how this isn't a bigger sport. And I think
um,
that was the thing that I struggled the most with in watching the interviews. I'm just like no, everybody wants this sport to grow. So like these folks really have this huge passion for it. How do we get that to come through the screen? How do we connect with them? Um, because I want people to care as much as I did when I was there.
and what's his name said it? Mr. Heffy said it best, Stefano. He said, like, we asked him, like, hey, like, and this was just kind of like a one-off question. I was like, what do you compare like the pro level of roller hockey compared to your ice hockey career? And he straight up said, he's like, this is like equivalent to D1 ice hockey, in my opinion. Just because of the challenge of the shots and him being a goalie, like in roller, like you get quality shots like
I
80%
mean,
of the
go
time.
watch the documentary. Those shots are like,
Yeah, like they're crazy. Like, so he said it like, it's such a high level and like a guy coming from ice. That's why we wanted to grab him too, because like he's a guy who just started playing in that scene. And we wanted to kind of get his feel and like, hey, what have you noticed in the scene? And he had his opinions as well, which again, like Rob, you mentioned it. Some of these interviews, like at some point we got to figure out a way to just get them out there because the raw interviews are just so like so good. They're like how we do our podcast interviews, honestly. Like Rob and I, we rarely prep for these podcast interviews. We get, some of our things that we know we need to ask, but like most of it's just like
off
ad
the
lib.
riff.
Yeah, like off the ref, like Rob gets a feel for a question, I get a feel for a question. It's kind of what we did. Like I have my standard ones, like what team do you play for? Like, tell us about last year, tell us about this game. But like more times than none, we were just like, all right, like we're telling you're passionate about this. Let's roll with this more. Like everybody talked about how they got into roller hockey too, which was really cool because it was all different. A lot of it started on the street for people. A lot of people were ice that transferred over. So it was cool to see like how people got started as well. And I think because of that, like we got real answers from people, honestly.
Yeah, in kind of, I guess, wrapping this up, we got about 5 minutes left on this. We're gonna kind of make this a short and sweet little pod for the people. But the premise of this too is, hopefully, it's a State Wars story. It's telling the whole it State Wars, right? And this year we particular was about the Palma Pro Invitational, the previous champs, and I think the idea now moving forward, what you guys accomplished there moving to the next year is now we can do the same thing with Black Ice and Ringster and follow those teams. And maybe hopefully a little more help in these different areas where I'm there, maybe get a couple other people where it's a true State Wars story about everything else. And there's more interviews than just the Palma Pro. It's about the sport, about the people in the sport, the brands, people that really have been in there. I think there's an interview from a gentleman that hockey literally he saved what's his name? He saved his life. He's a youth parent from the NDTP team. But it's just so much more than that. And I think people need to know that that's what it is. And hopefully next year the idea is we can follow Black Ice, follow Ringster, and get to tell their story now. And it's a year to year type of thing where, I think, and from what you guys can tell me, you have to watch this on a TV. You can't watch this on a phone. That's why this will only be released on YouTube through State Wars YouTube and Roller Dad News YouTube. Tim and Greg have built,
a tremendous tournament, the best tournament in the world, from all these different players and teams from all over the world coming here. And it's a privilege that we got Nick here to be able to help us tell this story. So yeah, just kind of wrapping that all up. That's the gist of what Beyond the Boards is. You guys can add a little bit more flavor in here. We got 3 minutes. I'm just going to go through all the interviews we actually have, just so that people actually know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think you literally summed it up perfectly, honestly. Like it started as like what we wanted to do kind of changed just based off of the people that we spoke with, and like we've said it in our all of our chats and everything, like the people of roller hockey really make it what it is, make the sport what it is, along with all the tournaments, right? But when you're there, you get this like feeling and vibe. And Rob, like you brought people into the sport and what you're doing in like even El Paso, like just putting your stamp on things, like, and people get to play this and be involved in roller hockey. They're like, damn, this is way different than I expected. And I hope for my goal is that someone sees this and maybe hasn't tried roller hockey because they were, I couldn't stop, I can't do that. And they're like, you know what? I kind of want to do this. Like they're doing this kind of stuff in roller hockey. Like this is pretty cool. Like, I want to try it now. I want to get involved and I want to put a tournament team in and everything like that. And because you hear from so many
I want to
different,
be on this docu-series. Like
yeah,
that,
like exactly.
but
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, what reminds me, and I know you, Nick, you've worked on this. We got a power play here. So we're gonna go quick. But 24/7. It's exactly how 24/7, The Last Dance, that type of style, and how it's really an in-depth feel of that. Like when I was growing up watching the Winter Classic, the first one with Sidney Crosby, you kidding me? Like I want to be on that. So I think that's a cool thing that you're able to do as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think that the one thing that was really unexpected for me was how much everybody loves the community, and to the extent where like Kyle Mooney gave such a great answer about the growth of the sport and why like the size of the community being so tight knit, being so small is really important. And it's like that's the kind of like double-edged sword kind of interesting dynamic that he mentions, is like everybody wants it to grow, but everybody wants to hold it close too. So it's like we have to. I'm hoping that this spreads the community and spreads the like the joy that really comes through from the sport that is exuded to the point where it's like it's not a like my sport thing, which I think like the NHL fan base for a long time struggled with, right? It's like people should love my sport. It's like no, we love this sport. So I hope you do too. But it's
Yeah.
not like anybody forces it on you. It's like come be a part of this culture.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's such an inclusive one. So inclusive. Like I think that's something that like I have goosebumps now thinking about it. Like it just was such an unforgettable experience. And I think everybody should go to State Wars. Like I truly believe that. Like I think it was such a great it's such a great place for kids to hang out, connect with the sport, be creative, have fun, meet a ton of new people, all of that. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, guys, thank you for listening to the pod. You guys are going to see episode one airing Thursday, January 8th. Quick rundown before it's over. I think we got about like 30 seconds. We got interviews with Brooke Bryant, Rob Tournament, CJ Yoder, Tim McManus, Phil Maroon, Junior Cadiz, Miranda Lemus, Nick Boyarski, Stefano Catilli, Scotty Savage, Aiden DeFort, Licia Pogu, Fabio Licciolozia, Mercy
This was
Bellaro,
the Scottish guy.
Nicole Gino, Greg Thompson, Travis Noe, and the Mooney brothers, Kyle and Kevin Mooney. Boys and girls, children of all ages. See you January 8th.